All right, we are live and in living color. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where we interview special guests each and every week from different walks of life in the reselling world. Here we'll discuss the highs and lows of reselling and dive into great conversation. We're positive that you're going to hear something that's going to help you become a better reseller. I am your host, Ray, and I am joined with my guest today, Danielle with Yardsales and Dreams. Danielle, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great. I'm doing just great.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited to have you just because you've been kind of like on the, I would say like content reselling, like sphere, like for a while now, I feel like. And then like we were talking a little bit before we started recording, but you said that, the content creation thing just kind of fell through the wayside, which I feel like if you're like a really good reseller, like it's just kind of like a common thing. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but that takes precedent over me making content as of right now in my life. But Danny, thank you so much for coming on. First question of the day: Yardsales and Dreams. Why the name Yardsales and Dreams?
Well, mainly because Yardsales was my go-to, it's actually my obsession. I can't pass one. I don't really know a reseller that can pass a yard sale.
That's true.
So anyway, so the whole Cocktails and Dreams. I was watching Cocktails and Dreams one day, and I thought, oh my gosh, what a cool logo would that be if I had like a neon sign that instead of cocktails it said yard sales. And I mean, let's face it, if you're a reseller, the profits that we make help us to, sustain some of those dreams that we have of like taking a family vacation, helping to, buy a decent used car or pay a car off or, things like that. So yard sales do help me live out my dreams. So yard sales and dreams it is.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. That's an amazing story. I know that for the reason, I'm sure a lot of people's reasoning for getting into reselling is that reason is to just kind of help your family out in any way possible. I know with me, and people have heard it millions of times now on this podcast, that, I first started off by finding, retail arbitrage items, just kind of like subsidize my Netflix subscription and, Spotify, things that come out every month in your bank account. And then the ball gets rolling and you sit there and you're like, wow, not only can I do this, but I can get out of debt, go on vacations that I've always wanted to do, buy a car straight cash. Like you said, like living your dreams out, being financially free by just going to yard sales. So I think that's an amazing name.
Yep. I feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Cocktails and Dreams. What is Cocktails and Dreams?
Oh my God. Okay. I
don't know what that is.
What year are you born?
I mean, I'm a millennial here, so I don't know what Cocktails and Dreams is.
Okay. It's only one of the best 80s movies out there. It does star, I can't even think of his name. Oh my gosh. Top Gun.
Oh,
Tom Cruise. Yes.
Is it called Cocktails and Dreams? Is that where he's the bartender?
Cocktail. Maybe it's called Cocktail.
Yeah, Cocktail. Yeah.
Cocktail. Okay.
Okay.
Cocktail. Sorry.
I didn't know.
Sign, like the sign for the bar. I guess the name of the bar is Cocktails and Dreams.
I haven't seen the movie, so
now you got me tongue tied.
But I want to see the movie. I like Tom Cruise. I recently saw his.
Watch the movie.
What movie was it?
It's a really cool movie about entrepreneurship and the success of an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay. I like that. You ever notice that Tom Cruise's like middle tooth you know how we have like a gap in the middle of our face?
Yeah.
It's like a tooth in the middle of his face.
Have
you noticed
that?
Yes, it's weird. Like you don't notice it until you notice it, and it's like, wow, that's super weird.
It's funny what you notice about actors' teeth. Like, go back. There's been just I've had a fascination with that before where I'm like,
Oh, really?
because I love Willie Nelson. And
Okay.
Willie Nelson's teeth, like in different photo shoots or different album covers throughout the decades,
Hmm.
his teeth just seem to be a little more offset than maybe like 5 years or 10 years before, and I'm like, "Well, I guess he had some dental work,"
So,
you know?
are they getting better or are they getting worse?
I would say better. I would say better,
I would hope so.
just physically have a better presentation.
Have you seen all the like Gen Zs? They're just like straight up like getting veneers now. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
really? No.
Oh,
No.
it's wild. So they'll like, I guess they'll sand their teeth down to like
Yeah.
little nubs, and they'll just put in fake
Ugh.
caps or veneers, and it looks super awkward.
Oh, wow.
Like a lot of, like I
Because
said,
of the need to look perfect or
I guess
to,
they just look weird. They just looks like they have chiclets in their mouth the whole time.
yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, to each their own, but I
Yeah,
feel a need to look that perfect, I guess you'd say. Mm.
I've had
To to
I guess a
grind down
night.
my teeth for no reason.
I know, right? One of my nightmares that I don't have it consistently, but when I do have nightmares is like my like I have a dream where my teeth fall out.
Oh, really?
You ever had that dream?
No,
And
but
it's
I've
like you
had a
look
really
down and
weird
there's like a handful of teeth.
no, I've never had that dream, but I've actually I guess it was probably following watching a horror film. I had a dream that I had, like, a metal ball stuck in my mouth, and my mouth was,
Ooh,
like, stuck open with a metal ball in it, and I couldn't even get
close
it
it.
out,
Oh
and it was
man.
like a studded kinda ball.
Ooh,
Yeah, so that
like a
was
spiky ball.
like a spiky ball. Yeah, so that's a nightmare that I had probably when I was, like, 20 years old, and I never forgot it.
Oh man, now you're gonna make me have nightmares for that. I'm gonna let you know if I have that nightmare tonight. But Danny, so for the people that may not know you, the nightmare induced spiky ball yard sales and dreams. Tell us a little bit about you. Like, are you a full time reseller? Do you do a full time job? Do you do this part time? Like, where did the content creation come from? Like, tell us a little bit about you. And the one of the big reasons, Danny, that I wanted to have you on is because I'm going through this whatnot journey, and I think you're going through this whatnot journey as well. So I
Yeah.
really wanted to like pick your brain on that and just kind of get your perspective with that. So, but just tell us a little bit about you. Tell us your origin story, how Danielle became Yard Sales and Dreams.
Okay, so, um, I'm a part-time reseller. I do part-time reselling. I work outside of my house 2 days a week. I, take care of a relative of mine that has cerebral palsy,
Oh wow.
so I'm doing that 2 days a week, and that that kinda came about because my cousin was really in need for someone to take care of her adult 20-year-old son, and, at the time, she was just having a lot of trouble, finding someone, so up to that point, I had been a stay-at-home mom, and I was able we just lived really, frugally and, with my we were on my husband's income. I've since 2004 I've sold on eBay, and
Oh
that's just
wow.
from picking from yard sales, basically yard sales and estate sales. And um, during the pandemic, um, during the pandemic is when I considered um, starting up the YouTube channel because I started really missing yard sales, and I just kind of had the thought, this wasn't until like 2020, I guess, right after it happened, and I thought, I wonder if someone's has a video of a yard sale out there that I just kind of want to go on that thrill of a hunt with someone, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I searched out on YouTube because before that I I must have been just I would like DIY search stuff and I would search music on YouTube. I was oblivious to like the realm of YouTube.
Yeah.
Literally, I would search how to do something or listen to music, and that was what I used YouTube for. So during the pandemic, I started searching out, people filming at yard sales. And then I started having the realization like, you've been doing this since 2004. Why aren't you recording at yard sales? Because I mean, I've found some amazing stuff. And, I feel the need in my heart, like I can't pass a yard sale without, knowing whether you turned over that leaf to see if there was a little gem sitting on the
Mm-hmm.
table. So I've always felt kind of a compulsion that I had to stop at a yard sale no matter what. And I just felt like, why aren't you doing this? So why aren't you going out there and try to film your own experience? And when I did start that, I mean, I guess I was naive to I guess I was naive about how much time that it would consume.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
fell in love. I fell in love with like the editing process too.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was so fun. I use Splice on my phone. I don't know if you know what that app is, but
Mm-mm.
I used Splice on my phone. It was super easy. A lot of my I would do the iMovie on my Mac every once in a while, but if I wanted to quickly, get something cut up and edited, I would put it on Splice, and it did a really good job. So it just ended up sucking up a lot of time. It ended up taking up a lot of time, and like a lot of people, I guess if your YouTube channel doesn't take off right away, you sort of get that, you know, like, is the time I'm putting in this worth what I'm getting out of it? And I
Yeah.
ended up never, I got like so close to monetization like several times, but I never got to the point of monetization.
Even
And
now?
the reason why was because when I started my content, my YouTube channel, I didn't realize that there was 12 12-month window
Uh-huh.
that you had to get to that 4,000 watch hours. So I
Uh-huh.
got to the 1,000 subscribers pretty quickly, but for whatever reason, my videos weren't being pushed enough, or,
Yeah,
didn't
it's a
have
whole
enough
thing,
interest,
yeah.
whatever, yada, yada. But I would get to like 3,500 or whatever. And I was
Oh
like,
man.
oh my gosh, I'm so close. And then like 5 videos would fall off. So it
Hmm.
was really frustrating. Um, yeah, it became really frustrating. So I just thought, you know what? I, maybe at another time in my life when I'm not trying to make sure I don't miss too much time with my kids growing up. My kids were, they're 16 and 18 now. And when I
Oh wow.
started this was 4 years ago. And so when I decided probably like this is going to be it, and I really never gave like an explanation video, like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to take a break from it or whatever. I didn't feel the
Hmm.
need to do that. Well, I still have like 3,200 subscribers somewhere around in there,
Which that's
but
really good. It's really good.
I just decided, I just don't want to. I just don't want to waste that time right now because my kids are teenagers,
Yeah.
and they were heavy into disc golf and heavy into traveling, playing disc golf.
Really?
And so that kind of evolved like with the start of COVID too. So they started this disc golf journey. I started this YouTube journey, and there just wasn't time enough for
Yeah.
all of it.
Wow.
Such as life. I mean,
Yeah, I got that right. Yeah.
yeah.
S
You have kids? I didn't even ask.
I don't have any kids.
Okay.
Not that I know of anyways. But uh
Surprise, surprise. You
I
never
know,
know.
right? Someone come knocking on my door one day. What platforms do you currently resell on, Danny?
Okay, so I was first and foremost eBay, and
Hmm.
then at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2024, we decided to give Whatnot a shot. Um, Mainly because we came into a we came in like we had an opportunity to where we had a whole lot of inventory at our fingertips that involved like comics and cards and just I mean, it
Good
was like
whatnot stuff.
antiques, vintage stuff, toys, and so I mean, a whole lot of good stuff. But I'm trying to work up my I'm trying to work up my following on Whatnot because I don't want
That's
to list
hard.
those comics and some of that really good stuff without a good enough following because I just don't want to lose a lot of money on those
Yeah,
great items.
that's hard.
Yeah.
It's I think it's taken us we sell on the consumer electronics category. And it's
Mhm.
taken us a good year to just have consistent following on there. Which first couple of months, man, it was struggle central. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll make a video. I have an idea to make a video of some of I'm gonna call it like the things I wish I knew when starting whatnot. You know,
Yeah.
but um, but Danny, I wanted to touch base with yard. You said you've always went to yard sales and you started eBaying since 2004.
Mhm.
Was Where did that love for yard sales come from? Was it just something? Did it come from your parents? Was it something like growing up? You're like you found like one amazing find, and from there you were just hooked, or where did that come from?
I don't know when I became hooked, but I know when I was a little girl, we would go yard selling, and I call it yard selling. I don't know, I'm not from like
I call
deep
it
south.
yards. I call it yard selling too.
Okay. I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'm from northern Kentucky. We're about 30 minutes south of Cincinnati, so it's not like
Hmm.
I'm completely down in the
Hey,
country of
Kentucky's another
Kentucky.
breed of southern. It's Kentucky's a whole another vibe up there.
Yeah. Oh, I know some of it is really, really remote and really different, but, I mean, I enjoy all of those different I enjoy all of Kentucky. I enjoy the fact that if you drive over to, like, the Missouri side of Kentucky, it's so much different than if you're over here in Eastern Kentucky, like, near, Asheville and that kinda stuff, and,
Hmm.
um but yeah, so back to why yard sales, we kind of, sustained ourselves off of yard sales. My dad was the one that worked and he worked in a machine shop and my mom
Hmm.
was a stay-at-home mom. And we really kind of sustained ourselves. Like she would go clothes shopping, like that's where we got a lot of our clothes and just I don't know, the things that we required to live, I guess. So we rarely, if we went to a department store, I mean, I was poor. Like if we went to a department store, it was like Kmart or Sears, you know.
Oh yeah.
um, and the good old dollar store, the Dollar General's been around for a long time, you know. You
Oh
could get you like a $2 pair of white canvas shoes at the dollar store back in the day. um, but yeah, so it really just came from, I guess, shopping yard sales as a kid. It always felt fun, it always felt like a fun thing to do. Um, and I don't know about you, but we had what was called Richwood Flea Market, which is a exit off of 75 in Kentucky. It's called Richwood. So that was a big deal, like to get to go to the Richwood Flea Market, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, because they had it
oh
both days of the weekend, and it was kind of the same thing, but like people had new things, but they were at like a
mm,
much discounted price or
yeah.
like a much more discounted price than what you would find at a department store. And
Okay.
you have to have had like a flea market in your area that had like you're walking down they have the army surplus area
Oh,
and like
for sure. Yeah.
the incense burning in the air. And I
Yeah.
mean, that
It's
was
like
just the kind of
you
vibe
get
that
your
it had.
socks and your white shirts
Yeah.
from the flea market. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's still
Yeah.
flea markets like that. There's a flea market
Oh, yeah.
little south of us in Lebanon, Tennessee, and they sell I mean, if you want a peacock, you can get a peacock there, like a live bird, like live they have
Yeah.
livestock. You can get you a hot dog. You can, like you said, you can get you like a army surplus, and you can get you some Build a Bear plush,
Exactly,
all in the
yeah.
same place.
My mom used to buy my strawberry shortcake toys at that flea market. I remember this one guy at a booth had, like, the newest and next best strawberry shortcake things. I was
Yeah.
born in '80, so in '85 or '86, walking around the flea market was prime time for strawberry
Oh,
shortcake, you
you knew
know?
you were gonna get you a new strawberry shortcake toy when we went to the. That's
That's
so.
right,
It's
yeah.
yeah. So the yard sales and the flea markets was more of like a necessity for you guys than anything else.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
this
it
is where we're
was.
gonna. This is it. This is what we
Yeah.
got.
And then when I got a little older, in the early 2000s, me and my husband would kinda go to those flea markets and things just for pastime.
Mm,
And then
like
we
nostalgic
yeah,
reasons.
and then with the internet rolled out a little later for us, I would guess you would say, 2004. Some people talk about getting introduced to the internet a little earlier than that, but
Yeah,
I mean, I was
2004.
introduced to it in high school, I guess you would say, but it was all still dial up at that
Yeah.
time for us. Even in 2004 when we started selling, it was dial up
Hmm.
and money orders, being accepted. Like
That's
there
when
wasn't
I
the
think of that,
PayPal
that's
yet,
so
you know?
crazy to me. That's so crazy to me. How
Yeah,
there was so much trust, you
yeah.
know?
Well, we never shipped anything until we got the money orders.
But even then,
But
like the trust from like the buyer to the seller to where
mhm.
you're sending money and then you just
And
hope
then
that
you're
they're gonna.
expecting them to put it in the mail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure can you imagine the scams that went on in
Oh,
the early parts of eBay? Like, "Yeah, we'll take your money order. Are you silly?"
yeah.
You
And then,
know?
people talk about how you had to pay extra to post pictures
Oh,
on
yeah, it was like
eBay,
12 cents a picture or something, and we used to get, like, 4. You used to literally get, like, 4 pictures.
which is crazy. So you're
And
buying
then I
something that
remember
you don't
when,
even
like
know what it looks like.
right. I remember when, like, 12 pictures came along, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we get to add extra pictures."
Hmm.
Like, I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know how
When
many
I
pictures
think
you
of
can put now. It's like,
I think it's 24.
yeah, it's a lot. It's too
Yeah,
many.
it's
It's too
24,
much.
and you can add a video, which I've never been successful at doing. I've never figured out how to do that because it
Same
won't
here.
upload a picture from my iPhone. I don't know why.
Same here. So from yard sales to, you discovering the internet back in 2004, like where
Mhm.
did that like itch from selling your yard sale stuff come into play on eBay?
Um,
Were you just like, did you see a commercial? Were you like, I'm just going to give this a try?
well, me and my husband got married in 2004, but we started our like joint bank account and our eBay account like several months before we got married. So our eBay business is a little bit older than our marriage, which is kind of cool.
Mm.
Um, but my husband went to an auction and he bought, I believe it was an auction, um, because that's another big thing. I really forgot to mention auctions, but that was a
Yeah.
big part of my growing up too, was live in person auctions. So my husband had went to an auction and he bought some, I think like 1980s, like ET and Dukes of Hazard lunch boxes. And
Mm.
that's where we really started. And his mom, I remember like we had success with one of the lunch boxes and his mom was actually like a big she had collected and hoarded like a lot of stuff from going to yard sales also. And so she had give us this bird. Well, it actually ended up being what they call a stangle bird. And it's like Stangl. There's no
Stanglebird.
E, Stangle. And
Okay.
so we had some success with that. We sold it for like 100 to 150 bucks or
Is it
something.
like a wooden bird, like a metal
No,
bird, a
it's a
ceramic bird?
porcelain, like a
Porcelain.
porcelain
Okay.
bird, and it was made in Japan, I believe, like a 1950s
Hmm.
Japan, decor bird. And so with those 2 things, we just kind of, but that is a good question. I don't know if we heard it on the radio. I don't know if we, came across a commercial. I don't know where we heard about eBay. I mean, I've even asked my husband that, and he's like, "I don't know. We just
You
I don't
just
know if it was
wanted
like
to
a
do
word
it.
of mouth thing that was like,
Yeah.
there's this new thing, and I think that's what it was. It was like I remember hearing stories like, "There's this new thing, and, you can sell a potato chip that looks like Jesus," and,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. Those kind of stories were going on, you know? You can sell your, I don't know, your
Your
dog's
Beanie
collar or
Babies or
something,
whatever. Yeah.
and, at the time, it was like a lot of used stuff,
Uh huh.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, there wasn't a whole lot of, like, arbitrage stuff happening unless it was just unbeknownst to me, you
Hmm.
know? I didn't even have that thought, though, which is interesting. New stuff never interested me. Like, it never interested me to go
It
out
makes
and buy a
sense. Yeah.
you know, because I probably could have done that. I probably could have went to the Richwood flea market back then and bought, you know, Nike socks and sold them on there for probably double my money or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but it just never occurred to me to buy something new. I thought that people were on the lookout for old stuff because that's
That's what you
what
liked.
struck me, you know? And
Yeah.
that's what you end up ultimately liking to sell is what you like yourself.
Wow.
Unless you just like to sell what makes the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do that too, but
Mhm.
what are some of the items that you like to sell, Danny?
I
Or do
love
you
to
like do you
sell
do clothes? Do you do like hard goods? Like what are some like nostalgic 80s, 90s
yeah, like,
stuff?
I
Yeah.
like to sell old toys, and I like to I'm a sucker for old shirts and T-shirts and nostalgic things like that, I can't it's very hard for me to pass up, old clothes or, just old graphic T-shirts. I'm probably gonna pick them up till the day I die, you
Yeah.
know? Especially from $1 to $5, the
Yeah.
prices that
Can't
we
beat
normally
that.
buy things at. Um, but, like, right now, for instance, the other day, I picked up I think it was called a Proline Bengals
Yeah.
hat the other day,
I
like, with the
saw that.
diamond.
I think it was crazy. Yeah.
So, I listed that really high. I listed it 500 bucks, and that's just because I've always been like a if I list something at that price, I'm gonna accept probably half,
Yeah.
always I've always been a person who likes to negotiate. And when eBay came out with their buy it now option, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. You get to haggle back and forth with people too, just kind of like in person. I really like that part of it. Now I know resellers that like I've talked to um or I've been like in a live chat and they're like, nope, I don't even turn like best offer
The
on. Like I don't turn best offer on. And I'm like, why? Like,
you're
half of
losing.
my sales come from best offers,
Yeah.
truly.
Even if I'm buying, and I did this today on a Pokemon card that I was eyeballing, even if the best offer's not even turned on their on their end, I'll message the buyer and
Yeah,
say, "What's the lowest that you would take for this card?" I
yeah,
do that all the time
yeah,
because just never know how long it's been sitting in their inventory, or maybe they just forgot to turn the best offers on. But
yeah.
I always look at that. Danny, what's your? Sounds like you're a pretty good negotiator. What are your negotiation skills when you go to yard sales?
What are my negotiations?
Yeah, like you
Um,
sound
you
like you're
know,
pretty good.
I I like to kind of just throw out there like, what's the least you would take for this? I don't like
Uh,
to be insulting. I've been to yard sales with some family members and things in the past that you know, my grandma, God rest her soul, like there would be 50 cents on something and she would ask if they would take a dime. And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
yeah, or at least a quarter,
Um,
right?
she had a lot of stuff when she passed away. Let's just say that.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I like to throw out there like, what's the least you'd take for this, or would you consider taking less for this? I try to be polite and try to be, not just say, "Hey, would you take a buck if something's $5?" I'm not that cheap. I know what it's like to have a yard sale too,
Hmm.
and you're really hoping to make some good extra money. But I've been to those yard sales where people's expectations are like kind of, absurd or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And I think about that. Like somebody might have thought that I was absurd listing that hat for $500. But, you know, send me an offer. If you wanna make me an offer, we'll talk about it or whatever. I actually had some guy message me, um, and he was like he kinda just said, "What's up with you listing this for $500? Because I have a few, and,
He wanted to know
typically
if
they
it
go
was
from,
you
like."
priced it too low.
Well, he said typically I get like 100 to $125 for a hat like that.
Hmm.
And it almost sounded like he was insulting me for listing it so high. And I said, I was kind of like, well, how do I even approach this? Do I just like ignore it and go on?
Hmm.
But I decided to message the guy back and I said, you know, I I really don't know what you're trying to do, but it's really none of your business what I start an item at.
Oh
And
wow.
just so you know, I always consider best offers. And
Mm-hmm.
if somebody wants to shoot me an offer, I'm likely going to accept it. So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, it's hard to know how something comes across in text. So I'm
Oh,
like,
for
I
sure.
don't know. Is he
Yeah.
being rude? But I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm
Or
not
just
going to
curious. Yeah.
just
Like,
reach
is there
out to
something
somebody.
special in this
Yeah,
hat that, yeah.
right. I'm not going to just
Was there
reach
any
out to a
recent sold
stranger.
comps on that hat?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Was there any recent sold comps on that hat?
Um, Not on Bengals, no,
Mm,
but on
yeah.
Proline, diamonds, anywhere from 200. And I know, like, the highest one that was sold was a $500 Raiders diamond, Proline diamond. And I when I seen that, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go with $500. I know the Cincinnati Bengals aren't the Raiders, but
But
I
they're
tell
doing,
I
I mean, they're good.
I
They're
tell you
not.
what, like, at the beginning of the season, if they're doing well, I guarantee you somebody's gonna shoot me like a $300 offer for the hat.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
did I did turn down a $225 offer just to
Ooh.
throw that out there. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I hope that wasn't like a terrible mistake."
I'm
But
trying to find,
it still has 15 watchers on it, so I'm not really worried about it.
trying to see if I can find the actual hat.
Oh,
I
like the
Googled
actual
it.
Bengals?
Yeah. I think I spelled Bengals wrong.
I googled it, and it looks like there's one out there on some kinda sus website. Like, it
It's
looks
probably
kinda
fake.
suspicious,
Does it have the
and
NFL logo on the front?
yeah, mhm,
Okay.
yeah, and that's what the guy was like. He was like, "If it was basketball or if it was,
Basketball.
yeah, if it was NBA
Is
or
this it right here?
baseball." Yeah. Yeah, that's the kinda, like, suspect website that I went to,
This one
and
right here?
and it said
Okay.
25 bucks or something, and
Oh
then
yeah.
see
It's
these
just a
other
read.
pictures down here? Like, there's other pictures down there that has the same flooring behind it. It'll say, like, a
Oh.
different website if you click on each of those,
Yeah.
and
Like
yeah.
Chinese made.
Right, yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah, there's
I
way too many of them with, man,
right.
that's crazy too, cuz it's like
Yeah.
clearly they're fake, right? Like why do you have like new old stock?
For 25 bucks or 14 bucks or whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
unless it's a reprint in which they need to say that cuz this one says it's vintage.
Right,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
but man, yeah, that's a crazy find. And how much did you pay for that hat?
I paid $1.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And the guy told me that he had had it for, 25 or 30 years or whatever, so I know that it's
Yeah.
true vintage.
You 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 didn't take the $250 offer?
It was 225, but no, I turned it down.
225?
I turned it down. I told my husband,
You're like at least 250. Give me
I
at
was
least
like,
half
"I'm
of the
hoping for
500.
the threes."
That's that's amazing.
And I just look at it as, I don't know, I'm not in any hurry to sell it, and it's not even football season yet.
That's true.
Wait
That's a
till
great
football
point.
season comes along. If the Bengals are doing good for a couple of weeks,
That is
it'll
a
turn out
great
to be a
point.
hot item, and I hope that I at least get another $225 offer again, and if that happens, I might end up having to take it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
Mhm.
All right, so Danny, let's move on to our first segment of the show. Get to know you a little bit better with
Okay.
overrated, underrated. Where I'm going to ask you 10 different subjects, and you're going to let me know if they're overrated or underrated. 5 being reseller related, 5 and not being reseller related. But before we get into that, we do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, and that's our good friends over at My Reseller Genie, the number one accounting software solution for all resellers. Guys, they are one of the sponsors, Danny, to the 2024 Nashville Reseller Meetup. I don't know
Awesome.
if you knew that we're having a meetup, but at the end of this month, 26th through the 28th, we're having a meetup here in Nashville, and they're one of our sponsors. So shout out to Faith and Paul for that. And if you guys want 15% off your first month, use the code Nashville Flippers, and you're going to receive that discount. So,
Awesome.
Danny,
I met them in Cincinnati.
oh, they're so awesome. Faith
I
and Paul are
don't
like the best.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
are awesome. But they'll be here in Nashville. And Danny, you're more than welcome to come. The event is absolutely 100% free. You just got to get down here.
Okay. Were you in
Yeah.
Cincinnati this past time?
I was not. I
No.
believe, well, I can't remember what day, when was that? Like
It
what
was in,
day,
I want to
what
say like it was September. It
I
was
want to
September.
say, yeah, I was in Florida for my
Okay.
anniversary.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
happy
at the end of the
late anniversary.
September, it was probably like late September, right?
How many years?
12.
Oh, congratulations.
12.
Awesome.
So we always take our vacation at the end of September and go down to Florida. That's when
Okay.
we miss like we miss the like the summer rush. It's like the perfect time to go
Oh,
for
awesome.
us. Yeah. So, all
Yeah.
right. So, Danny, number one, overrated, underrated, Mercari. Give us your thoughts on Mercari,
I
especially with
never
all the hoopla that is going on currently with Mercari. Have you seen all that they're doing right now?
I've seen that they did a lot with like their seller fees and their returns, and I mean I've heard all that. I've never ventured into Mercari. I've never ventured into any other platform besides eBay. Now, at the beginning of this year I ventured into Whatnot, but I don't really have an opinion, so I guess I would just say overrated.
Overrated. So, are you aware of their new terms and policies? With
No.
so I want to pull it up. So just um,
You know what was always a deterrent for me was because they mainly deal with clothes, right? And the only clothes that ever interested me were vintage clothes, and I just felt like I had an okay place on eBay for that.
yeah. Do you sell on Depop?
Nope,
No.
no.
You might want to look into that one.
Yeah,
I,
do you sell on there?
I don't sell on there, but that's
Uh,
I heard that's like
Good
the
place for
prime
clothing.
spot
Mhm.
for at least like that real like Gen Z vintage
Yeah.
like the like that vibe. And you have young kids. I'm sure
I
you
ha
know what the
I
kind of
have
stuff that they
16 and
wear.
18-year-olds, but
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
like
shop on
prime.
Depop.
Yeah.
Now, my son Jackson loves vintage clothes, but he doesn't shop on
Yeah.
Depop.
So,
I do see a lot of, posts from Profit Monsters. He's always
uh-huh.
putting, like, messages that he gets from young kids, about
Oh.
clothes. It's just ridiculous, and I'm kinda like, "Oh my gosh, I'm kinda glad I'm not
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
there."
But Danny, just to touch base on the new Macari, and don't quote me on this, guys, because I'm not looking at it. But no seller fees,
Okay.
but they are charging you $2 every time you withdraw your money from Macari,
Hmm,
which is I think it's a little odd because I think what they're doing is they want you to keep your money in there as long as possible, so it builds up, and then
right.
they could use
Hmm.
the money to do other things within the company. Like it goes into like a
Kinda like the
is
bank?
yes, what is it called? Like it's not escrow. Is it escrow? I don't think that's the right
I
word.
don't think so.
But no, but it goes into like it just goes in there and then they can use the money towards something else cuz it is
Mm.
a Japanese based company. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't know that.
So they use that with something else. So every time you withdraw your money, they charge you $2, but no seller fees. And then the buyer gets to return the item if they don't like it, like no questions asked, like before a certain time period. And then, but the seller, what would be the seller fees, is passed on to the buyer. So not only does the buyer have to pay for the item, but they also have to pay like a fee to purchase the item, which I
Right.
think is weird. I guess it would be kind of like a what is in like an
Like a
auction you
buyer's
pay like
premium
exactly.
like on an
Yeah.
auction. Yeah.
Yeah, which I find so weird. Which
Yeah.
in my
It's
thought process would be um now you have to think about that and the buyer has to think about that. So if they send you an offer, they probably want to send you an offer like negating those seller fees or
yeah.
those buyer fees. So it's just a big weird rigmarole. But I don't
Yeah.
know. So I
Well,
don't
let's
know.
hope eBay doesn't take any
Yeah,
cues
it's
from them,
just
huh?
no. I mean, they're taking our money every which way and out right
Yeah,
now. But
yeah.
underrated,
I
Danny.
I mean,
I
I would
forgot.
say overrated. If
Overrated,
you
overrated.
know,
There you go.
I mean, is that am I in the right
No,
realm there? Like
no.
I'm saying overrated because so many people think highly of it, but if they're going to be doing stuff like that, I would say it's overrated. I don't know.
Hmm. So you only sell on two platforms currently, right, Danny?
Yes,
Okay,
eBay and whatnot.
okay, okay.
And I'm like two followers away from 600 people on whatnot, and I started in December, so
Oh,
for
that's
me, that's
fantastic.
not bad.
Have you already sold 1,000 items?
I'm right at about 800 items, so I'm
Okay.
getting there. I'm getting
Once
there.
you sell that 1,000 items, it's like a game changer, Danny.
Yeah,
Because once
I
you
can't
print off
wait.
that label, the money's like right there,
I can't wait. Yeah,
which
it's gonna be
it's
awesome.
it's insane. But next one up, Danny.
Okay,
Overrated, underrated. UFOs.
UFOs. I think underrated because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, tell us about
Yeah,
it.
I'm very intrigued. I don't know. I've always felt like. Do you ever feel like there's this stigma to like if somebody thinks that you are fascinated with UFOs, then you can't really. I don't know. I guess this is kind of going to be kind of a controversial, but like you can't really could be considered um
Like religious or
like
something
a
like that.
Christian or
Yeah, no, I
just somebody who
completely.
follows Christ
Yeah,
because how could you believe in UFOs? But in my opinion, this universe is so big. Who's to say that he only created us? Is all I'm saying. I believe
yeah.
there is a divine creator, and who's to say that we're the only ones? I, you know,
And I mean, you never know. Maybe we're not. Maybe it's not UFOs. Maybe it's like another. Maybe it's like another like I don't know, like an angel or some
yeah,
other being or something like that that we
yeah.
confuse
Because
as a UFO.
I've watched a few episodes of Ancient Aliens, and I tell you, like,
Oh man,
have you ever
that's a
seen like
slippery
how they
slope right there.
say? I've seen some of the images of like what they say. Um, that the people in the Bible actually might have seen when they saw an angel, and it just
Yeah,
looks like a big being of
yeah,
light, like
like that. What is it? Like what's that?
not necessarily like
Ezekiel's was it Ezekiel's vision? I can't remember the
I
where he
don't
sees the
remember.
angel and it's like wrapped. It's like wheels and like an eye in the middle or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
I don't know which part of the Bible, but
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about because that's exactly what I've seen on Ancient Aliens.
yeah.
Um,
Gosh,
but I very much believe that there's a divine creator, and I just think there's possibility for other things that we cannot even comprehend out there. You know.
yeah. That's yeah. It was Ezekiel's vision
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
angel. Yeah,
It's very interesting to me. Um, we sit out. We are in a really good place where we could sit out in our backyard. Yeah. Yeah. Like
see
yeah,
with the
that one there.
wheels and then the I
Yeah.
can't remember and then this
Wouldn't that
was
be magnificent
just
to see something
whoa,
like that
that would
in
be
in the
so
sky?
crazy. Yeah, with the eye. Yeah,
I think it would be
I
just
remember reading
amazing.
that as a kid, and I was like asking my parents. I was like, "Have you guys read this?" And they're like, What are you talking about?" And I was like, "His vision, like the vision he had, like
Yeah.
it sounds. It was just like crazy, crazy."
Speaking of like being a kid, and do you remember like the old Star magazines that used to like I think it was before everybody switched to like celebrity news, but they would
Oh,
have these like ridiculous like UFO sightings and
yeah,
UFO
yeah, 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 yeah.
drawings
Like
and
the
stuff on the front. And
Inquire, not the Inquirer. What was it called?
I thought it was called Star. I
Was
don't
it
know.
Star or was it like it was like Bat Boy found or like like
Yeah, and like
wild stuff.
the end is near, and there's like a
Yeah,
UFO in the background,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
It's
like
like
an alien
Bigfoot
standing there.
gets a job, or yeah,
And I remember seeing one of those at the gas station one time, and secretly, I was probably like 12 years old, and like internalizing that myself. because I guess maybe I didn't have an adult with me or something, and I just thought that I took it for truth, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Oh,
I took
yeah,
it for truth, and I'm
exactly.
like, "What is happening?" Like, what and I remember being so scared just to myself. Like, I don't think I ever
You ever
told
it's like,
anybody,
"Mom,
but I
what
just
is?"
remember shivering in fear.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that's a
Um,
great point. Like, if you're a child and you see stuff like that
yeah,
and you
it
don't
makes you
ask an
wonder what our
adult, you're
kids
like,
think about the internet these days, you know? And you just you I don't know, you think your kids have thick skin, and you would think that nothing would, affect them that deeply, but things can.
I can't
Things can
remember.
definitely
God,
affect
that's
some
gonna drive
people.
me nuts. I can't remember the name of that magazine. But do you,
This I think Sun was one of them,
Sun, the
like
Sun?
Sun Magazine or
Let's see.
something.
Do you remember the movie Men in Black?
Um, yeah, but that didn't really affect me. Like, what was
Well,
the other
there's
one
a
that did affect me more was, like, Day After Tomorrow, or what was that
oh,
one?
all those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, all those, like, end of the world movies,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
those would kind of freak me out.
But
But
there's a section in in the movie Men in Black to where it was like they were like looking for tips, and they're
mhm.
like, "Well, what are we gonna do? Who are we gonna call for tips?" And then just go to a convenience store and they grab all those magazines and they're like, "See, it's like this isn't
Ah!
just fake." And they look and they find the tips of who they're looking for in the
Oh my
magazine.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's
So
funny.
yeah,
But yeah,
but
we've got the perfect backyard for, star watching, stargazing, whatever you call
hmm
it, and we've always me and my kids would always go out there. My husband wasn't ever so much into it, but I still, in the summertime, when it's warm enough, or springtime even, when it's warm enough, I like to go out there and sit, and, you can pinpoint like a satellite going across the sky, because
yeah.
it moves sort of swiftly and in the same path, and um, we actually took a trip out in 2019. We went out to a place called Black Mesa in, Arizona, and so it was, like, really close to how was it? It was really close to, it was, like, Texas and Oklahoma and Arizona were, like, maybe I'm saying that wrong. I know it was Texas and Oklahoma. It was, like, up in the panhandle of,
Uh-huh.
Oklahoma. But it was, like, the one of the darkest points that you could camp at. It was, like, we just kinda
Ooh, that's
researched that before
scary.
we left. Like, a
Yeah.
really, really good spot to stargaze.
Uh-huh.
So we found ourselves at this campground, and I've never seen anything like it, never seen a sky like it, never before, never again. It literally, whenever we stepped outside, you could just see the stars popping out. It literally looked like popcorn. It was like pop, pop,
Really?
pop. Yeah, it was so
That's
amazing. Like,
crazy.
just before your eyes, they would just appear so bright. And this is leading from, um, it was just turning dark to
Oh,
complete darkness.
like dusk to dark.
It took
Yeah.
probably about 10 minutes for total 10 to 15 minutes for total darkness to, like, set in or whatever, but it was amazing. It was really cool. It
That's
was called No
where is the
Man's Land.
place again?
It's called if you Google No Man's Land,
Uh-huh.
and that's, up in the Panhandle, but
Uh-huh.
it's called, Black Mesa, I think is really near that, or, like, one of the towns that's near that. So,
That sounds cool.
it's a state park there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's probably because they would probably put a gas Dollar General there if it wasn't or something like that. You know?
Yeah, there's literally nothing around for, like, 40 miles, and
Gosh.
we had some amazing experiences there. We also witnessed from this, like, lookout point that you could go to, we also
hmm
witnessed this really bizarre experience. This guy, we watched him okay, so imagine that you're on this high point, and you're looking over into the distance, and we see this man come and park a car, and we see him, like, walk into and if you've ever been to, like, Texas or Oklahoma, there's, like it's like dust and prickly bushes and stuff.
hmm
It's not like a big forest like maybe
hmm
in Eastern Kentucky or somewhere in Tennessee. So it's like you can see everything, you can see the ground, you can see like the hill that this guy's walking around, but there's like big brush, um, bushes or whatever, and it literally looks like he's looking for something. And he's got this big flashlight. He's like looking around. We're literally trying to, you know,
It's like, what's he
commentate
looking
over here
for?
what he's
Yeah.
doing. So he ends up being over there for like an hour. He's like over
Oh,
there for an hour, and we're like, is he searching
loses
for like
keys or
some
something
kind
like
of
that?
cache or something?
Yeah.
Like we've heard about, people dropping stuff out in the desert and giving like coordinates, like go find this at
Oh,
coordinate whatever. I
yeah.
mean, that's what the guy had to be doing, in my opinion, because he literally, whatever it was, he took it up to the road, and then he leaves in his car and drives up and around, parks right where he had sat something next to the road, and then puts it in his trunk and leaves. And for like 30 seconds, I was watching him drive away because, um, so when he got to this little intersection, he could either turn left to go away from where we were, or he could turn right to come up to where we were. And I was so fearful that he had like seen us
Come.
in some way.
Yeah.
And so I was like holding my breath until I seen his car turn the other direction. And I
Oh
was like,
man. So he found whatever he was looking for.
he found something. He found something. And this was literally in what they call no man's land, state park, or Black Mesa State Park, I think is
Hmm.
what it's called. It
I
was
wonder if it was
weird.
like drugs or money or like you said.
I don't know. I wish I knew that. Honest to goodness, like if I die wondering something, I'll die wondering what the heck that guy
What
was
that
doing
man
that
was
night.
looking for. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What
Okay.
about you? Do you ever have anything like that you would that you don't know the explanation of, that you're gonna wonder till you're gone, like what it was?
I'm sure I
Not
do.
to hijack your interview or
No,
anything. I'm
no,
just
no, no.
curious if
You can
anybody
ask
else
me as
has
many
something like
questions as you
that.
want. Not that I can like think of right off the bat, but I'm sure there
Yeah.
is. I mean, they're probably more like real like what's the meaning of life, or what are we doing here, or like why did my
Yeah,
life go like this way, or
right, but
things like
not like a
that, but
specific
nothing like
event.
yeah, but nothing like that. But I'm sure
Yeah,
there is some at some point. I'm
yeah.
trying to think.
That was one of the best trips of our life, though. We took that camper out west, and we went all the way to
That
Phoenix.
sounds amazing. Are
Yeah, it was
you
fun.
speaking of space and darkness, are you going to be in the path of totality during the eclipse on Monday?
We're gonna be right on the edge of it.
Okay.
So we're about 30 minutes south of Cincinnati. So we're in what they call the Northern Kentucky range. So if you look
Mm-hmm.
at the state of Kentucky and it comes up to that little knoll at the top,
Uh-huh.
we're there. And I think the totality is going to be like right over top of Dayton, Ohio, which is, directly to the west of us.
Okay.
So, but
We got to
we should have a really good view, because in
yeah.
17 we had a good view too, and
Yeah, I
we
was
weren't
just
in
going to
the
say
path.
in 17 there was it came through Nashville,
Uh-huh.
and it was the coolest thing I have ever experienced.
Mhm.
And so on Monday my wife and I were going to drive to Paducah, Kentucky,
Yeah.
cuz that's the closest to us. And so cuz we're
I've
like,
heard you
"Hey,
say that somewhere. I think I heard you
yeah,
say that the other night when you were on that,
on Monday?" Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we're going to go to Paducah, and I mean, we get to witness two eclipses in our lifetime.
Yeah,
Let's do
I
it.
think it's awesome
Like
too. We witnessed our last one at home, and did you okay, so I took pictures of it, but did you get to witness, like, the little crescent, like, the half crescent moon-shaped shadows all over the ground?
no, I was just looking up.
Okay, so during the eclipse, also look down if there's any concrete where you are, because
Okay.
it's easier to see on, like, a flat concrete surface, or maybe, like, on the hood of your car or something, depending on where you're gonna be at. But you'll if it's like last time, you'll notice these little, they look like little half
Yeah, like
moons, like
little
little
crescent
crescents,
moons.
and it's just like a little pattern all over the place.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look for that. I
yeah.
just remember the one thing that really stood out to me is just the darkness and like hearing the birds chirping, and
Mhm.
then when it was dark they just like stopped.
Yeah,
Which
went
is
silent.
so I was like so weird. Like it's daytime and then it's literally nighttime, and then it's like it's morning again
Yeah.
within like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah. I just wonder, if they like how confused the animals were,
Oh,
or if they, you know, if maybe their DNA, like, how they say like some things are written in DNA and you
yeah.
just like know them or feel them like in animals and stuff.
Uh huh.
I just wonder that too about
I bet.
animals.
Oh, I bet they're so confused, so
Yeah.
confused. But
Yeah.
Danny, we're at an hour. Are we still good to
Yeah.
rock and roll here?
Yeah,
Okay. All
sure.
right. I just
Yeah.
want to check in with that.
Okay.
So, all right, overrated, underrated, number 3, Danny. Whatnot.
I think it's underrated.
Okay.
Underrated because we've been having such a good time selling on there. And
So
I hope
tell
I'm
us.
answering your questions correctly.
No,
I
you're
hope
fine. There's not a correct answer. It's
I
what
hope
you
I
think.
understood the assignment because I say
It's what you
underrated.
think for sure. But so Danny, you've only been selling. So you're like basically new to the platform, and you've only been selling since December.
Mhm.
So, and you, I would say, like you said, you don't necessarily post on YouTube anymore, and you wouldn't say that you have like a huge, like
No.
Commonwealth picker following or anything like that, right?
Right, yeah.
So, like for you, what has been like a lot of people are kind of reluctant to jump on the platform because they think that they need this huge following. Like for you, what has been why whatnot first of all, and what have you noticed to like kind of gain steam and get to where you need to be?
I think really what our driving point was in September when we came into the amount of inventory when we did, when we got to actually, privately select inventory from a relative's estate. So we had access to his storage units and we had access to his basement. And he had been a comic books, he had ran a comic store. And so when he passed, we intook all this inventory and we just, I had been hearing about whatnot and with some of the research of the comics and stuff, I don't know if you've ever looked at the comic section of whatnot,
Mm,
but there are a lot of comic collectors on there. And I'm thinking, we could do some of our very best of the best stuff on eBay and take
mm-hmm.
our mediocre stuff to whatnot and, not be too afraid of losing that much money with the mediocre stuff. Um, and having, our kind of our end game with whatnot is to just to be able to, well, my end game is kind of to be like, you know, some of these storage unit sellers where you can put anything up in
Oh,
the screen and they're gonna
yeah.
and people are gonna want to buy it. Like some of the big ones that I follow are the ones that I like to watch the most, like Blocker. They usually have like about 100 to 150 people in their room at a time, and they sell some really cool nostalgic stuff that they find in storage units and stuff. And people are just like they can't get enough of it. You know what I mean? They just
Mm-hmm.
like, and so I aspire to just have, you know, at least 100 to 150 people in my room that is going to want this stuff that we're selling. And so the comics were a real drive. Hey, Jackson. So the comics were a real drive for us to make that step toward toward whatnot because we have such a such a high number of them to sell. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my end game is to be able to sell them with confidence on there.
So
So I'm
you
trying
haven't have you sold any comics
to
as of right now?
no, I haven't sold comics yet. I'm trying to build my numbers up still. But
Gotcha.
what I will tell you is we started out with like because we also had we had a large collection ourselves because we have a jukebox, but we started with 45 records. We started with selling 45 records, and we sold those under storage unit fines like the first day or like the
Mm-hmm.
first time. And then, or no, that was our second show. I apologize. The first show was just kind of like storage unit finds, and it was just random stuff. And then when we did our record show, like our 45 record show, we had a really good show that day. We sold like $350 worth of 45 records, which I thought it was really good.
Yeah, that's really
And
good.
yeah, so what I decided to do is instead of trying to just promote myself on Instagram, um, I'm going in. I'm doing some footwork. I'm going into these 45 record shows, like because there's actually you know um, like vinyl albums shows and 45
Mm-hmm.
record shows. So I'm going in there. I'm looking at what the highest person, like what the highest item that that actual seller has sold during that show,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at that buyer. I'm following that buyer, and then I'm sending them a message. Hey, I'm getting ready to have a 45 record show next week. If you want to bookmark it, that'd be cool. If not, no big thing, and hope I don't aggravate too many people doing that. But um, I've actually done that with some of the comic shows that I'm just kind of sitting in and researching and taking in a lot of what these people are doing, how they're
That's so
selling.
smart. Yeah. Have you
And
noticed, like, when you have those like your 45 shows, have you noticed any of those people that you reached out to
oh
actually
yeah,
come on?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
And
They
like, have
come
they
and bookmark your
messaged you
shows.
back and like, oh, that would be great, or that's awesome. Like,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
know.
Actually, this one particular guy that started out in our vinyl record show, we had. Do you know what Heavy Metal magazine is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with music, which I had no idea. It's like adult fantasy comics,
Yeah.
and so the guy that was like our number one buyer from records, so I would just so so once I got some buyers, then like with my next shows, I go in there and I message them to this is my show, like bookmark it if you want. If you can't make it, no big deal. Hope to see you there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So he came by our heavy metal show and he bought like, I don't know, 250, $300 worth of heavy metal magazines that one night. And then we had another buyer. So it was like, thank goodness he
They
showed
were
up
like
because,
fighting against each other.
yeah, so it
Oh,
only takes two people.
I know.
It only
That's what's
takes
so
two people
awesome
for a
about
battle.
Whatnot. Yeah.
So this one guy, the one guy showed up that I invited, like a kind of a freshly new person that had never bought from us before, and then this prior person that had bought 45 records. And so I invited, probably 15 to 20 people with the idea of what I just told you.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was two people that showed up that ended up battling, and we sold like $500 that night in heavy metal magazines. So that was cool. And it was literally like, what was it? 36 or 37 heavy metal magazines was all I had.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a $500 show, you know.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. So
yeah.
you saw like, and how many people did you have during that show?
Um, I want to say there was like probably 15 or 16
So not like
people
a
in there.
lot, but
Not,
like you said, it only takes two or three.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you don't want them to be friends either. You don't want them to be like, "Oh, I'll let
Yeah,
so and
yeah,
so
yeah,
get
yeah,
that one, and I'll let so and so get that."
yeah.
You want
That's
them to bat.
yeah, that's great. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if you ever thought about that strategy, but
No, I haven't, and I
yeah,
think that's great, especially for someone like that doesn't that are is reluctant because, excuse me, because they think they have to have this huge following, but you're doing the work to
you
where
just have to
okay,
do a little bit of footwork.
yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I've never thought about that, Danny. That's brilliant.
yeah.
What was that the show that really like sold you on Whatnot? Where you're like, okay, this is something else.
No, um we had acquired some toys from the place that I told you about too
Uh huh.
back in September. And we had like an action figure toy show. And
Mm-hmm.
so our highest sales that we ever had was in that show, and that was $1,500. And that
Wow.
was about I want to say that was about a 2 or 3 hour show, 2.5, 3 hours. Now
How many items?
we did have some like original Star Wars figures from the 70s, but they
Oh,
were loose.
yeah.
Nothing was like carded or,
Still, yeah.
boarded or anything like that. But yeah, so it was loose Star Wars figures, and then there was like a couple of Ninja Turtles, a couple of
Probably like Masters of the Universe,
yeah, a
stuff like
couple of
that. Yeah.
Masters of the Universe. Yeah, just like the random loose things that you find typically, if you find vintage Star Wars stuff.
So after that show, you
G.I.
were like,
Joe, yeah,
"Wow,
G.I. Joe
this
was
this whatnot platform can be."
yeah,
How many
yeah.
items did you sell on that show?
Oh, now you're putting me on the
Was it
spot. I don't remember.
like over 100?
Eh, probably right at 100
Right at 100?
because I mean, I cataloged them too,
Mm-hmm.
and is that's another thing that we go back and forth, like, is it worth cataloging? Is it not? I will say if you are a beginner
Mm-hmm.
whatnot person, I think it's easier if you catalog something and you have the picture matching with
Yes.
the number or however you decide to do it. It's a lot easier to run your show
Yes.
smoothly,
Yeah.
if you catalog, but, we've done it both ways. Like,
Where
we've
you
done it
just
both
did like
ways.
one listing with like 50 quantity and you just
Yeah,
ran it. Yeah.
yeah, mhm.
That's I did I'm doing just recently did a show yesterday where I had a bunch of squishmallows.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I did, Danny, I did buyer's choice.
Okay.
So like you have multiple people bidding on possibly different ones.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's like
and one person might have their money banked on A, but then somebody
exactly.
might have their money banked on B.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a really good strategy if you have like a lot of one thing,
Yeah.
like if you have like I don't know, like 10 Pokemon cards or like plush or whatever, just do
Yeah.
buyer's choice, and there you have different people bidding on different things, and they're all like competing against each other.
Right.
So
Yeah. That's a smart idea too.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
I've not
amazing.
done that yet, but
Yeah,
I'll use that in the future.
yeah.
I have
You just
seen
got to
people
keep
do that.
track. You just got to be
Yeah.
able to keep track of the items that sold.
Yeah. And
But
we always do that. Like, I don't know about you, but we always, like, we always put a Post-it note with everything.
hmm
Now, I see some people that look like they must be pros, like, because 'cause they're selling this like this, and then they're just sitting it to the side, and then they're picking something else up, and I'm like, "Do you not
it's
have somebody helping you, or what is the deal? How are you
wild.
keeping that straight?"
Yeah, wild.
And
I know with
they might just
like
be
if
going back to look at the video receipt, I don't know.
that's too much work.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think too.
I know like when you said when you pre-list everything like
Mhm,
I do too like on my big electronic shows, like
mhm,
I just throw everything in a bin and then it shows me the picture of what the item sold. But
right.
if you didn't have that then you're I don't know how they keep track of everything.
Yeah, me either. We usually always I usually always either have my husband, like, pulling whatever we're selling up on the computer, and
Mhm.
I'm just kind of, like, with the item. I don't feel the need to, like, be in the camera. That's another thing, like, that's a personal choice whether people wanna try to be in the camera or
So
not.
you're always behind the camera selling the item.
I mean, there was one show where I sold clothes. It was just easier to, like, be in
Hold
the
it up.
camera and just kind of,
Yeah.
show whatever you were selling, but, yesterday we had a clothing show, and we just I used that, screen back there, and I just hung them
Mhm.
like that, and that made it easier, and I didn't have to be in the camera, and for a guy, it might not be that big of a deal, but for a girl, you at least gotta make sure your hair looks a little bit decent and you know
Yeah. I
just
think
gotta make sure
women
you
on the
look a little bit
platform
decent if you wanna be on camera.
yeah. I mean,
Mm.
all the women sellers that I know, they all kill it.
Oh, yeah.
Every
And
one of them.
and you know what? I was gonna say, a lot of people take take what I just said about making sure you look decent or whatever, and they just say, "To heck with that." Because 'cause I've seen some people on there, not to say they look bad, but they're just literally like, "This is what I look like today, and I'm selling this, and I'm here in this
Mhm.
camera," and, they don't really, care, you know what I'm saying? And it's
Oh, for sure.
to each their own, you know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody, um not everybody has to like, I consider myself just kinda like make sure my hair isn't, like, sticking everywhere, but
Yeah. I
I'm
that's why
not
I
like
got a
a
hat. I always throw a
girly
hat
girl
on.
that has to look perfect or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. So
So,
Danny, for someone that may be reluctant to try whatnot, what kind of tips can you give somebody?
um, I would just say, I would say start off behind the camera. Some people might have pressure of being on the camera. You don't have to be on the camera. If your items are good enough, they're gonna sell themselves. And um, to me, I like a fun, light atmosphere. I like a fun, but I don't really necessarily like to be in a room where somebody's trying too hard to like be somebody they're not. I just, being authentic, kind of like they say with being a YouTuber, you
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're there and you're just like your authentic self and you're selling items that people want, um, and if you have trouble trying to figure out what people want on whatnot, whatever kind of categories float your boat, I suggest that you go back and watch some past shows of people. You know, watch some past shows, see what they sold, do like I do, like sort through the highest and the lowest, and follow some of those people who pay up for some items, and um, you know,
That's
send them a
so
link when
it's
when you're
brilliant.
having a show. The only thing they can do is either ask you to not send anything else or, not show up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know these people? No. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Now
what?
I would say don't do that if you're like if you're going into YouTube or not YouTube, if you're going into whatnot, like with the expectations that like somebody from YouTube is gonna come in your show and like buy from you, like that's unrealistic,
Mm-hmm.
Don't send your links. I mean, this is just my advice. Don't send your links to big YouTubers with the expectations that they're going to come to your show because they're if they're YouTubers and they're resellers, they're on whatnot to resell.
Yeah.
I mean, people come and buy and support sometimes, and I get that. But for the most part, you want to go after some buyers. You don't necessarily want to go
Yeah, like
try to
you
get
want to
sellers to come to you.
exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree
I
for
mean, if
sure.
if people who are selling on Whatnot, if they are also buying on Whatnot to, source, um, that happens too, I guess. But I would just say don't search out those people,
Mm-hmm. That's good.
like to look for success.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So next one up, Danny. Rapid fire on these because we want to get you out of here before 12 o'clock. So
I don't even know what
uh
time it is.
Dunkin' Donuts, overrated or underrated?
I think they're overrated. I am not a Dunkin' Donuts person. I I've
Everything there is too sweet. All their drinks are like super sweet.
I've never I've never been. I'm probably like the most unpopular guest you've ever had, but I don't have to have a Starbucks or I don't have to have a Dunkin' Donuts coffee or anything
Well,
like that.
that's good.
Um the mocha coffee that we buy from Aldi suits us
Uh-huh.
just fine.
There you
Like
go. There you go.
we live out in the country and we're not driving like 15 to 20 minutes to go buy sit in a line to buy coffee from anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, but my niece works at Dunkin' Donuts, and she's been promoted to a general manager, and
Oh
she loves
wow.
she loves working there. So, it's just I've never actually went out of my way to go get Dunkin' Donuts. We've had a couple of really good donut shops pop up, and then sometimes they'll last, and sometimes they don't. And we've had some really good donut places around here, just like mom and pop places,
Mm-hmm.
and I prefer them above
Oh, for
above like the
sure.
Dunkin' Donuts any day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Next one up, Danny. Creating reselling content. Overrated or underrated?
Um, I guess I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. If you feel like you have the time and you're not taking away from your family and you're not taking away from reselling or your work and you feel like it's something that you can do without stressing yourself out and that's what you want to do and you don't have a lot of other responsibilities or things on your plate that have to come first, then I say go for it. Like, you know,
That's a great point. Yeah.
yeah, at a different time in my life, you know, it it might have been different or worked out different or whatever. I might try to do it again later. I don't know.
Well, I know that we need more women in the reselling content space for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I'm lumping people together, but um, for my own reasons. And if there's other women out there that aren't in the space because they feel like they have a lot of responsibilities ahead of YouTube, I can see
Mm-hmm.
why there's not. You know?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. I've never really
yeah,
thought about that. Yeah.
yeah. I
'Cause-
mean, as a you know, as a mom and a wife and
yeah.
a somebody who works outside of the home, somebody who resells to also, sometimes
Take
you
a
just gotta
breath.
prioritize. And for me, it's not really in the cards right now, but you know, I think there's a lot of great women YouTubers out there. But like you said, there could be more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe after Jackson gets his pro disc golf
Status, like
contract,
pro
yeah,
status.
then he could just take care of Mama all day, right?
Yeah, yeah. We actually came to Nashville, like, I don't know if you ever heard of the Music City Open, but I messaged you like probably 2 years ago. I'm like, I'm coming to Nashville. Like, what is a good place to source? Like, what's the best place to source in Nashville? Like, I need some insider tips or whatever. And you're
What did
probably
I
like,
say?
who in the world is this person?
What did I say? Do you
You never
remember what?
respond.
No, I must. It must have went to my like. You know how they have like the
Yeah, it
requests.
probably went to
Yeah.
like a restricted
Oh, I'm
area
sorry
or
about that.
something.
The Music City Open. Which park was that at?
Um, there's I'll probably be really bad at this. Jackson, what were some of the parks that Music City Open were held at? What were some of the parks at Music City Open? One like overlooks the river. Um,
That's Twin by the mall.
two rivers. I'm getting
Two
you two
Rivers.
rivers. Two rivers.
That's a good one.
Seven Oaks.
Seven Oaks,
Maple Hill.
Maple
Oh,
Hill,
Naval Hill.
Naval Hill.
Naval Hill.
Okay,
Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill.
We were
There's
at a
one
lot
down
of
the street.
hills.
There's
We
one
were at a
down the
lot of
street from
hills.
me, in Saunders Ferry Park,
What was that one? Cane Ridge.
Cane
Cane Ridge.
Ridge. Yeah, that's south.
What was that one? Hobson Grove. I've got them coming like each direction. Like one's upstairs telling me, one's
Yeah.
over here telling me.
Oh man,
So do you disc golf? Like, are you just
I
saying
used to
like the
do it a
parks in
lot. I used
general?
to play a lot,
Did you
but I
really?
don't do it like I did have like the music sit like Nashville disc golf. Like I had a car, like like I was a member
Were
like
you like
one
a
year.
PDGA member?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My boys and my husband are PDGA members.
So
Yeah.
I was a member for. I guess I still am. I don't know.
It's like $50 a year. You have to
Yeah.
renew it
I
every
guess
year.
yeah. I think I was for 1 year, and I would go to all the local
Yeah,
like tournaments and play doubles and stuff like that. There's one.
that's
My
cool.
favorite golf course is or disc golf course. There's one in Springfield, Tennessee. It's
Okay.
on this guy's property.
Okay.
It's the dude's like a big stoner,
Oh
like, and
yeah.
he created like a disc golf course in his
What's his
backyard.
name? I might know him.
I have no clue, but huge stoner. I don't think I've ever met him. I just played like in his course. Um,
Like
and then he would just
he
let
had a tournament
anybody.
on his
He would
own.
just let anybody play until the city was like, "Hey, you can't do this." And
Okay.
so
Is
now
that the one that
it's.
was like a big controversy?
I think so. There's one of the holes is like a big satellite dish,
Okay. Jackson,
like
do you
in
know
the
what he's talking about? Springfield, Tennessee.
Springfield, Tennessee.
He's playing darts. He can't hear me.
Oh, hey, I'm always a member of. I was on a dart team too.
Were you? Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I
So
feel like I used to live all
they
these
played in
past
like the
lives.
well, I don't know. I shouldn't say they played in like the junior section because I can't remember if they played in MJ 15 or MJ what they played in.
Gotcha.
But anyway, Jackson did win one of the he won his division when we were at Music City Open one year.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the pros like lives in White House, Tennessee. Will Schustrick, I think is his name.
Is his name Schuster?
I can't remember. It's
Schuster, something
something
like
like
that.
that. But
There's actually somebody on there's like Brixton. There's Brixton Cards. They make the sports cards for disc golfers, and they actually have a whatnot channel. So
that's
they do
cool.
like card breaks, and it's disc golfers, like pro disc
Oh, that's
golfers.
so cool.
Yeah.
Have you seen the it's not real, but there's a guy on TikTok, you'll see the reels. He'll do card breaks for this fake trading card called Divorce Dads.
No. No, I
It's
haven't seen that.
the cards are hilarious. And there's one that he does also. It's called like Small Town America,
Oh,
and
really?
like the cards are like Trailer Park, the Dollar General,
Oh my gosh, that's
like
funny.
Meth Lab, just like funny like fake cards like that. But
Well, I came across some, I think they're stickers actually instead of cards, but like all that stuff that we got in September,
mhm.
um, there were like parody, I think they were buy tops, but they were like a parody card. And it was like all the kind of like household products and food products. They had like a parody name for it, kind of like the Garbage Pail Kids, but it was like,
Yeah.
they made fun of like Heinz ketchup and like P&G products, like I don't whatever P&G
Did
products
it
are, like
was it like
Downy.
drawn like a because Garbage Pail Kids is Tops,
Okay. Well, they
so I
would give
wonder
it
if
like
it
a
was.
parody name instead
Yeah,
of like Heinz ketchup. They would call it like
yeah. I
Heine
wonder if that was
sauce
part
or
of the
something. I
Garbage
don't
Pail
know,
Kids
but these
line
were
or not.
from like the late '70s. They were
Oh,
pretty cool.
I
Um,
always throw. That's one of the things. Whenever someone buys from us on Whatnot, I throw a Garbage Pail Kid card in there
do you?
because they still make them.
Oh,
So
that's
like, I'll
fun.
go to my local card store and
Yeah.
I'll keep like the really expensive ones, and then I think I might have some right here. I'll
Oh.
keep the real expensive ones, and then I'll put I put like just like the regular ones in packages.
Oh, cool.
The last one that it's not in here. The last Garbage Pail Kids that I opened up, they had the plate that they use to make the cards, like the metal
Oh, yeah.
plate,
Yeah.
in with one of the packs.
Like a piece
So
of it or the whole thing?
the whole thing, it's like
Oh.
the black. Here it is, right here. It's like the black color.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like the metal. It's a metal plate. So the black color of this card.
Oh, that's neat.
So they have like
That's
different ones.
really
So
neat.
it's like a one of one.
Huh.
So
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
really
get it.
cool.
I'm gonna get it graded so it's in like a hard case.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
So
awesome.
yeah. So all
That
right,
would be
moving
really
on.
awesome.
Professional wrestling, Danny, overrated or underrated? Are we a big professional wrestling fan?
My family is. My kids and my husband love
Yeah.
it.
Hey, WrestleMania's
Yeah.
coming up, Danny. That
Okay, you know what I love watching? I love watching the Legends episodes where they like go back and they tell the stories from back in
yeah,
the day.
like the A&E,
I think it's
like
called
those
Legends.
A&E documentaries.
Yeah. I believe it's called something Legends, isn't it, Jackson?
I think so.
The wrestling stuff. Anyway, we watched one last night. We watched one last night on I won't remember his name, but um some of those wrestlers have devastating stories like
Have
of
you seen the
hardship.
movie The Iron Claw about the Von Erich brothers?
No.
It's
No.
it's Zac Efron plays like the main person.
Oh, does he? Yeah.
So this is like a real story. So the Von Erichs, there was like a family of like 4 or 5 boys, and they all wrestled,
Uh-huh.
and all of them either like they committed suicide and
Ooh.
they died, and there's like one left.
Oh my
And they said
gosh.
there's like a
Oh.
curse on the family. It's the movie is like
Ooh.
so sad.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
but true
also
story.
love I also love when they go on the hunt for like the relics. That's like another spinoff of the wrestling
Yeah,
shows.
that's the
Yeah,
A&E
because
show.
that
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of lines up with what I like doing, and it's funny though because I wouldn't even want to get knocked on the door by those guys, would you? Because like your beloved piece is going out the door. I'd be like,
Have you seen the one
don't
where they're
even call
looking
me,
for
don't
like
even knock, because I don't want to
yeah,
tell you no, and I don't want to turn away your money.
exactly. Have you seen the one where Ric Flair was looking for one of his robes?
Yes,
And
yes,
then
I
like
have.
the referee had one of them, and then like he was just like, I don't want to give it up, Rick, and he was like crying because it, yeah,
Yeah, that's terrible. I think that's terrible. Unless it was like so scripted that they're like,
I don't think no,
you
that was
know, what do you think they pitched to them? Like, because that they probably when they call them up, they don't tell them that they're gonna give them as much pressure as they give them.
Well, Danny, just to let you know,
I would feel a lot of pressure.
a little inside scoop. I don't know if you saw our episode, but myself and my, Dustin, which is my brother-in-law, the other half of the Nashville Flippers, and
Okay,
my
yeah.
wife, we got to film a pilot for a TV show. It was going to be called Picker City,
Oh,
where we
really?
were like,
I've seen something that said, like, we made a movie or we filmed a movie or something, but I
a
didn't get to
TV
look at
show.
it yet. Oh,
So
TV show, yeah.
so everything about TV is so fake, Danny.
Yeah.
Like scripted to
Oh,
the
I know these
max.
reality shows are, yeah.
Yeah. So like Pawn Stars and all that stuff, like American Pickers, like they're not just going up to a random person's door and knocking on them.
Yeah.
No, like all that is pre-scripted or whatever. Like
Yeah.
after having that experience, it just you look at TV like so different.
I
So
guess
different.
so. I guess so.
So if you guys want to see that episode, check it out. It's on there somewhere. Like Danny said, it's like we filmed a TV show or something like that.
Yeah, I'll
So
definitely check it out. That's
yeah.
cool. I So
Next one
you
up.
kind of went away with a sour taste in your mouth? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that we had that was supposedly ours was like rented from like other places because they wanted us to
Oh,
have like one of a kind things.
yeah.
So it's like none of it was ours because I asked them, "Do you want us to bring anything?" It's like, "No, we'll have everything there for you. Just bring
Huh.
yourself." Yeah.
Well, it's probably hard to kind of make it seem authentic then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So that's probably why it hasn't gotten picked up, Danny. So,
Yeah.
but all right, next one up. Reselling clothing, Danny. Overrated, underrated.
I think underrated because I think there's
Yeah.
still a lot of money in vintage clothing, regardless of, I don't know. To me, it might seem oversaturated in a lot of ways, but I still think that it's worth doing. I still
Mm-hmm.
think that you know, you might have a one-off piece, or you never know whenever you're going to have something that a collector just has to have. There's a lot of impulse buyers in this world, and
Got that right. You're talking to one of them right now.
me too on certain things.
Yeah.
Um, I'm telling you what, I never thought I would be somebody to buy different things off of Instagram, and I've bought, you know, shamingly,
Man.
I've bought so many things off of Instagram that I'm like, why did I buy that?
They know how to target the specific person, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Some of them
For
are good though.
sure.
Like I've gotten some like wrestling t-shirts from there
Yeah.
on Instagram. They get targeted and I'm like, this shirt's cool. And I'll like buy more than one, like once I get it, go back at the store and
Yeah. I don't
buy.
necessarily mean like the things that you can buy from a specific individual. I mean like I never thought that I would fall for like the almost like the infomercial type things that they put up there and they say shop now. Like,
Oh, I got you.
my
I
gosh, I
got you.
fell for it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like TikTok now. Now they have like
See, I'm not
TikTok
on TikTok,
shop.
so
Oh
but
man.
it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for sure. They make it so easy for you to buy stuff directly from there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Everybody takes PayPal and,
Mm-hmm.
that's,
Exactly.
definitely in my wheelhouse, paying with PayPal.
All right, Danny. Next one. This might be controversial.
Uh-oh.
Dessert pizza. Overrated or underrated?
I would have to say overrated because I couldn't tell you the last time I had a dessert pizza.
Right? My
Like
wife and I went to
Domino's, I think Domino's is like the only one that I know that has it on a menu around here, and I've never even purchased it.
exactly. It's just weird, right?
Now I like a Hawaiian pizza, which is kind of like a dessert pizza
I love a Hawaiian
in a way,
pizza.
like when you think about it, because you got like that sweet and the
Mm-hmm. Sweet and
salty going
salty.
on at the same
Yeah.
time.
I love it.
Um, yeah.
I love a good Hawaiian pizza. All right, here's a good one. Overrated, underrated at number 9, the Goodwill, Danny. Do you have any Goodwills close to you there?
I do, yeah. There's a Goodwill in Taylor Mill, Kentucky, and then um, there's a Goodwill over in Boone County. So for me, they're like 15 minutes away and then like 45 minutes away. But just as
Gosh, that's
well,
still
like,
far.
so I would say I would say overrated just because of their high prices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm really selective when I go into the Goodwill. I won't buy anything unless it's, really like something that's really hard to find or, you know, our prices have just gotten so high in Northern Kentucky. You
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, okay, so there's a little small town in, let's see, I think it was like, I think it might be London, Kentucky. Have you been to London, Kentucky? Like you've
Mm-hmm.
never went north? Um, okay, so it's like a little small town in London, Kentucky, and I believe they have T-shirts there for like $1.99 at their Goodwill. And if that
Wow.
was our Goodwill, I would be like, okay, I can do that. I can get
Two
behind that.
bucks?
But ours are like $5.99 for a T-shirt now or something.
Yeah.
$5.99,
I think ours are
$6.
$7.99.
How much?
$7.99.
Well, ours, I mean, it's been a little while since I've bought a T-shirt. The last time I think it was like 5.99, 4.99, somewhere in there. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just too high you know, unless you really know that it's gonna sell for a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But I like the St. Vincent de Paul's, the what do you call them? Like the
The
Salvation
Salvation
Armies. Like
Armies.
we
Yeah.
have little places like that too. Like we have a few church based thrift stores that are really awesome. But yeah, for Goodwill, I'd say overrated
Overrated.
because of their prices.
There you go. All right, Danny. Last one up. Stanley Cups. Does Danny have a collection of Stanley Cups?
I don't own the last Stanley Cup that we have is like the vintage green
Oh,
Stanley
yeah. The
Cup
old school one for sure.
thermos that you can put like coffee or soup in or
Yeah.
something. We do own that, and that's probably because we bought it at a yard sale. Now, I'm not saying if I'm out this summer and there's like a Stanley Cup at a yard sale for $2, I might buy it, but I'm not going to pay retail for a Stanley Cup.
Hmm.
Nope, not me.
Have you seen some of the the one of like designer like um
Like the special themed ones or something.
yeah,
I
like
know
the
they're out
special
there.
edition ones?
I know they're out there because I've seen people like that have these Instagram channels where they have like special
Oh.
shelves made, kind of like my kids have disc golf discs in their rooms
Yeah.
and they're just
It's
like
like
lined up. Well,
collection
these
ones.
Stanley Cup people have these on their
Huh.
shelves too. I'm like, oh my
I
gosh.
think the one that I've really noticed that I thought was really cool was the Lainey Wilson watermelon moonshine one.
Oh, okay.
It's like red and the top's like like a see-through green, but it's like
Okay.
$150 or $170 on eBay.
There is no way.
Right?
No way that you could get me to do. Now, what about you and yours? Like, do you guys have Stanley Cups?
Brittany, my wife Brittany, she has one that she uses every day,
Yeah.
and I do have one, but I hardly ever use it. I
Yeah.
use, like we have tons of these,
Oh, I
and they're
know.
just
That's
like,
why that's why I refuse to buy something else
yeah,
because
this
I
one's
have
like a
like
Walmart like knockoff,
what is that called? Like Arctic or
the
something?
Ozark, I think.
Ozark or
Yeah,
Arctic. We have like at least 5 or 10 of those, and I refuse to buy something that's gonna be even more
yeah,
pricey. This
they
is what
all
I'm
work.
drinking out of right now.
Yeah, they all
My
work the same.
restaurant Coke cup.
There you go. Oh, nice. Some people
Those are from a yard sale. I have like a stack of 10 of
there's
them.
a trend on TikTok to where people they remember drinking out of those, and then
This
they
reminds
would,
me of like Pizza Hut.
yes. So on those TikTok videos, they give you like a code of like where to buy them at a particular like restaurant supply store online, and
Oh,
people just
really?
buy them by the case and they can have them in their house.
Oh, well. And
So,
maybe that's like I bought a stack of 10 probably like 2 years ago, and it
uh-huh.
probably came from like a restaurant supply
Yeah.
person or something. I
Oh,
don't
for
know.
sure. For sure, for sure. All right, so
Yeah.
Danny, that concludes overrated, underrated. So
All
thank you
right.
so much for playing. So here
Mm,
is the everyone's favorite segment of the show.
okay.
It's called Skip or Flip, where I'm going to show you an item that recently sold on eBay, and you're going to let me know if you see it at a garage sale, yard sale, or whatever. Would you skip it or would you flip it? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
So first one up, we have here is this R2D2, and I will tell you that is a cup.
That's a cup.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go.
Oh. Um. Is it like from like the 90s Star Wars or just like a modern thing? I mean, does that
I
matter?
can't tell you any other information, Danny, but just what's on the pictures. So like if you see it at like a garage sale or the Goodwill or what have
Episode
you.
1. I'm seeing episode 1. You know what? If it's cheap enough at a yard sale, I don't know, I'm gonna say skip. I
Skip.
might look at it for a minute and then realize it's a cup, and I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna say skip. And because
Skip.
I think it's from, I can't think of the name of it, but I know that's the one that came out in the 90s, I think. So I'm gonna
Okay.
say
Okay.
skip.
All right. So Danny, this R2D2 cup recently sold on eBay for $15. So you
Oh, okay.
guessed correctly.
To me, that's a good choice. Like I got it right.
Yeah, that is a good choice. That is a good choice.
Now, if that would have been a 1980s cup, I probably would have picked it up.
Yeah.
See the difference there?
There you go. There you go. Or 1970, what is it,
Well,
79?
like
Was that?
79, and then you've
Yeah.
got the Empire Strikes Back was like a year or two later.
Uh-huh.
So you're good with the any of the first three movies.
Okay.
Well,
All
it
right,
gets
Danny.
yeah,
How
go
are you
ahead.
with toy cars?
Pretty good.
Pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
All right.
Mhm.
So next one up. This one only has 2 pictures.
Okay.
All right. So we have here Hot Wheels on card. Looks like a 71 El Camino, and that's the second picture there.
I'm gonna pick that up.
Okay. How
That's a
come?
treasure hunt.
That's a treasure hunt. How do we know that it's a treasure hunt?
I've seen it on the second picture.
On the second picture?
Right
Because
there,
of the
that little
little.
gold thingy underneath.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
what
picking
is
that
a
up.
treasure? What is a treasure hunt, Danny? For the people that may not know.
It's just a special it's just a special I don't know what makes it special. I'm going to be honest. When my kids, like I said, they're 16 and 18 now. When I used to take them to Kroger, they would specifically just get up underneath of all of them and look for the treasure hunts, and they wouldn't buy them unless they were treasure hunts. So I don't know exactly what it means. It just makes them more valuable because they Hot Wheels took the time to make that little um, emblem underneath of the car there, and it might have something to do with how many they put into production that year. I'm not sure, but I do know that it makes it a little more valuable if it's a treasure hunt.
Okay. Okay. So Danny, how much are you picking this up for?
Um, I mean, if that's normal priced, I mean, is this like a retail store you're picking this up at?
Say you're finding it like at a garage sale,
I probably
and
pay
you know that it's a treasure hunt.
I probably pay up to like $5 or $10.
Okay. How
Now,
much you
if you're
think
buying
it's?
one at Kroger or Walgreens or wherever
Of
that
course,
they
it's like a dollar.
Walmart, they're like $1.99 to what,
Yeah.
like $3.99 or something, which
Yeah.
is that's retail. So yeah, probably up to $10.
Okay. Now, how much do you think it's selling for?
Hmm. Now you're testing me. I'm gonna throw out 49.99. I don't know.
Okay. $49.99.
Just a guess.
All right. All right. So this El Camino 1971. And guys, if you're listening to this listening to this, come over to the YouTube side so you can see actually what this car looks like. So this car sold for $56 on a
Oh,
bid. So you're right
nice,
on the money there, Danny.
nice. Yeah.
So this is, like you were saying, this is a 2024
Oh,
super treasure hunt.
okay.
Um, so you guessed it right. And Danny, one of the things, like you said, to make sure that is a treasure hunt, it does say TH somewhere on the car, that you know for sure that it's a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
And the wheels are going to be rubber wheels, not plastic wheels.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then the paint is always like a glittery, like they call it something. I can't remember what it's called.
So
So
it
if
has
you
like
see,
a shine in it, like a
yeah,
special
like a
shine
shine or a glisten
here.
or a glimmer.
Yeah.
So if you see this like even loose somewhere at a garage sale, and you notice it's like, oh man, this car has rubber tires. Take
Yeah,
a second glance at it. You might have
yeah.
something there. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
Danny,
I only knew the little bitty tiny print like up underneath of the car. So
yeah, that's easy to, yeah, like when you
I'm
on the
glad to know the
card.
TH is there too. That's cool. I
Mm-hmm.
never paid attention to that.
Danny, you're two and oh right now.
All right.
All right. How are you on your plush?
I would probably get like a C or D minus in
Okay.
plush.
All right. So we
If
have
it's
here,
vintage
Danny.
plush, I know more than modern plush. Okay. I do
So,
know that I think that this one is valuable.
so for the people that are listening,
They had one of these at my Goodwill one time, and they literally had a price tag of like 200 bucks on it at the Goodwill, and I thought they were absolutely crazy, but the next week I went back and it wasn't there.
was it the black cat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, we're looking at a black cat squishmallow. It's just there's nothing really special about it, right, Danny?
I mean, that tag looks kind of used. I
Yeah.
mean, the
I
tag
mean
looks
this.
pretty used, but apparently there's something makes it special with that 500 on it with the
Yeah.
gold
It does say
500. I would
500th. Might be the
okay.
500th
So this is
squishmallow
like the
that they made or
500th
something.
Squishmallow special kitty cat,
I don't
apparently.
know. I don't know. So Danny, are you picking it up? Are you skipping it or are you flipping?
If it's cheap enough, I would pick it up. I definitely didn't pick that one up at my Goodwill for
two
200
hundred
bucks.
dollars. So what's cheap enough?
When I
Is $100 cheap enough?
uh I would probably go up to 50 because I remember
Okay.
comping that one out, and that was probably like a year and a half or 2 years ago. Probably 2 years ago, I'm thinking, if my memory's serving me right. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there was solds on there for like $500 to $700 or something. So I'm probably gonna pay 50 bucks for it. I'm kind of cheap.
Okay. So are you skipping or are you flipping?
I'm flipping it.
You flipping? All right.
Yeah.
How much do you think it's worth now?
I don't know where the market is on Squishmallows. I don't know if they hold their value.
Right? Yeah.
And that tag was pretty dirty, so I'm gonna say this one probably sold for about 300.
Okay. All right. So Danny's paying up to 50 and hopefully making $300.
Yeah.
So this black cat squishmallow recently sold on eBay for
Whoa!
$995.
Whoa! Dang. That's awesome.
So if
Yeah.
you guys see a black, it's called Jack the Black Cat. If you guys see this, do pick it up because you got something.
I
And
don't
this
know
is
how they
something
could
that
I don't know how they could say no defects though. That tag
I know,
looks
right?
pretty nice.
Right. So,
No
if you,
offense if you know the seller. I mean, it looked used, is all I'm saying.
for sure. So, this could be something that you can easily find, like they would pop up like at a garage sale.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
So don't be
How
afraid. There's
many
some
go to
even in
solds,
bags.
like, how many solds have actually sold, though?
There's a few. Let's see, this one's in a bag, $1,100, 770,
Oh, yeah. Can you do the
nine
sort?
twenty
Like,
five.
I'm big on sorting from highest to lowest.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
15 sold on January 19th.
January 19th. Okay. Wow. Dang. I
February,
hope that this
January.
little nugget of knowledge pays off this summer.
So
That's all I'm saying.
Danny, so you found this for $200 at your Goodwill, and at the
Mhm.
time it was selling for around $700. You wouldn't spend $200 knowing that you could make $700?
It was just too risky for me because I think at the time when I looked up the comps, there had been, like, a few that sold for, like, 500, 600, somewhere in there, and I don't know, I couldn't justify spending the 200 bucks
It is
because
risky because it.
because I don't have a lot of knowledge in Squishmallows either,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to wonder I don't know if you've ever tried to research, like, Barbie dolls.
Oh,
But oh my gosh, there are so many of those like fake sales out there for Barbie dolls, and that
it's
drives
the
me crazy.
same.
I don't know why eBay allows that, but those the okay, so the way that I don't know if your viewers know that, but if the way that you can like if you wanted to go to the top and look at that seller and see it, how many feedback they had, like just say that $1,500 one, just click on
Let's
that.
take a look. Yeah.
It says one bid. Like this is how you can spot a fake comp. Like you want to
0.
see? I'm questioning that now. Yeah.
That's not the one that
No,
we
no, no,
saw
no.
though.
No. But I'm just saying there's that kind of stuff out there and that
It's
makes you wonder
inflating.
like what just say one of those $900 ones. Just check that one. See those one bid things whenever they say one bid?
This is a $1 one feedback too.
See what I'm saying?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Like you kind of got to do like all of your research, you know. And I don't remember if that's what I did at the like whenever I was comping that
You
out at the
probably did.
yeah, because something gave me like red flags about it. I'm like, I
Could be
don't know.
some money laundering going on there.
Yeah, and that was okay. So a couple years ago, we had like this big like we bought I don't even know like 2,000 Barbies or something, and they were like
Hmm.
anywhere from late '80s to like the 2000s. And I ended up going to an auction house and giving them 40% to sell these for me because it was literally like you could find one that sold for $10 and then you could find one that someone sold just like it for 10,000. And I'm like, these like they were fake comps, you know,
Hmm.
the ones that were selling for really high were fake comps. And I was just like, this is just overwhelming and it's too much. I'm taking these to a local auction house. And I ended up like making probably like $400 on my $1,000 investment for like 2,000 Barbies. And so I was like, never again am I going to buy Barbies in bulk. You know, I always look up vintage Barbies and, you know, but the ones from like the 2000s and stuff, they really just don't have a lot of value.
They
Like
made too many
some
of
of the
them.
even like late 90s ones that you would think would have a lot of value, they just don't. So
Hmm.
kind of
So
disappointing.
would you say that you have good knowledge on Barbies
Yeah,
enough
I
to make you
mean,
dangerous?
yeah, I've had some success buying some vintage Barbie clothes. At I have a few like choice local online auctions that I like to buy from, and probably last year I think it was, I bought like a two totes of Barbie clothes that had like the little black labels that's which means like they're 1956 clothes.
Hmm.
Like Barbie people will pay up for vintage Barbie clothes that have like the
The little
script
black tag.
written like Barbie. And then the Barbie movie, oh my gosh. I knew the
Oh
Barbie
man,
movie
I
was
didn't
coming
think
out.
about that.
I knew the Barbie movie was coming out in July. My um just like desire to want to sell these clothes, I bought them in like March and I couldn't even wait. Like I was like, I know I'll probably make more money if I wait till, you know, June to sell these things because of the hype of the movie and stuff. But I
Hmm.
just couldn't do it. I ended up selling them all through my eBay and I sold them in like May or maybe like April or May or something. Um and did really really well on them. But like I'll never buy 90s and like or late like mid to late 90s and 2000 Barbies again. It's got to be the vintage Barbies for me.
Okay. So how would you know that they're vintage?
Um
Do they
there's a
have
few
dates somewhere on the Barbie?
there are dates on them. There are certain
Like molds?
all of them are going to have like the copyright
Uh
1950s or whatever because that's when Barbie was copyrighted. So you
okay.
can't be fooled by that. There's like a couple of different places you need to look. You need to look like under the nap of the hair. You
Hmm.
need to some of them you can even like pop the head off and there's like a ring around that's going to say
Hmm.
like Mattel all the way on the ring
On the
around the
head?
neck.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like at the base of the head. Um it just really takes a little bit of experience and a little bit of research, you know. to find those older ones and just know what's older, you know. A lot of them have to do with whether they were jointed or not, you know. A lot of the old
Yeah.
Barbies are, like,
Or
stiff
just straight.
and almost like
Yeah.
Frankenstein looking, you know. The feet at the bottom will be marked Japan
Mm-hmm.
at the very base of the foot where she looks like
Mm-hmm.
she's wearing a high heel and, you
Yeah.
know, her
Just like toes.
arch is really accentuated. It'll say Japan, stamped. Literally, it's, like, burned in there like a
Mm-hmm.
what do you call that? Like a
Like a branding
brand, like a
tool.
cow
Yeah.
branding, you know, that sort of thing.
Huh.
But yeah,
Okay. That's
just
interesting.
if you come across some Barbies, just do some research and especially before you do a big buy like I did.
Yeah.
I just kinda jumped in and you that's how you get your
What'd you pay
knowledge,
for
you
that
know,
big buy?
that's how you
Oh,
get
for
your
sure. Yeah.
knowledge is experience, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
For sure. For
What was
sure.
your question? I'm sorry.
How much did you pay for that big buy?
It was like
The big Barbie?
$1,000.
A
It
thousand
was
dollars? Wow.
$1,000 for probably like 2,000 Barbies or something.
Oh, that's
I've
money.
got a video on it. There's
Yeah,
like
that's easy
Barbies
money.
spread all around my
Yeah.
basement, and
That's overwhelming though. 2,000
it
Barbies?
is, but at the
Sheesh.
same time, you know how that goes. Like if you've got 1 or 2 in there, they could be like big home
Mm-hmm.
runs, you know what I mean? And I did have a few that were like life-size bride Barbies that I sold on eBay for like a couple $100 a piece, but when I sent them to the auction house, I literally only made like 3 to 400 bucks on top of my $1,000, but I did save a few back to sell on eBay.
On eBay.
Um, you know, ones that were actually worth the while.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. You just
Well,
gotta be
Danny.
careful when you're doing that research too, you know, look up go to the bottom and see how many feedback the people have because
Mm-hmm.
if they're selling things for thousands of dollars and they have 0 or 1 feedback, it's likely
Got
fake,
that right.
and I
Got
wish
that
eBay
right.
could do away with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to manipulate the market for sure. There was recently a
I don't understand how they do that, do you?
I don't understand it. I know that even off eBay for for instance, like I buy and sell Pokemon cards like all the time,
Do
Danny.
you? Okay.
So a new set recently came out, and there's a website called TCG Player, where that's basically like the gospel of like the value of a card,
Card
right?
Pokemon card, yeah.
So people can put a card on there, and then they can ask for a certain amount or whatever.
Mm,
So recently on the new Pokemon set that came out, there was one card that a bunch of people got together and they purchased the card out off of that website. Like they
mm,
sold out. And so every time someone would put a card for sale, the recommended price would always increase because it was always selling out. So the demand
mm,
was there. So it
mm.
manipulates the market. But the people that were buying it was the same people.
Oh, okay.
And so they were manipulating the price of the card. And so once it went up to like $200 the card, they put all their cards back on there that they purchased, and now that $50 card is now a $200 card because they manipulated the market and
Yeah.
purchased it, you
Okay,
know.
yeah. Well,
But
that's
I mean, this is different from eBay, of course. I mean,
right,
clearly
yeah.
it's money laundering, but I
Exactly.
guess the only thing that I can think of with that is that, on eBay you can purchase something with like a credit card, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So let's say that you have a credit card that you can get like cash back on, or like a it's kind of like a loan, right? So you have a credit card and you say you have a friend that puts stuff on eBay. You purchase the item with the
Mhm.
credit card. The
With the
person gets
intention of trying to get some cash back on your
get the
card.
cash. No,
Yeah.
the intention of your friend giving you the actual cash amount back
Mm.
to you.
Oh.
So
Oh, I never
maybe
thought about that.
they get a little bit of a cut of it, and you get, you pay off your credit card, but that credit turns into actual cash money instead of
Mhm.
credit.
Right, yeah. Or
Which
you're
you
just
still have to pay off your credit card, but at least you have cash to
yeah.
That's what I
Well,
think
then
of.
that kind of makes sense too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess
So
I guess that could be an explanation of how they do it.
yeah.
It's
Or
irritating for somebody that's relying on comps, I tell you that.
got that right. Got that right. Well, Danny, thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on. I do appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I always like
Yeah,
to
thank
end the
you.
podcast with one last question,
Okay.
and that is goals. What does Danny Yardsales and Dreams have goal wise for this upcoming year?
To sell a whole lot of comics.
Yeah.
To sell a whole lot of comics. Yeah. I mean, that literally like I brought some comics just so I could show you like the kind of comics that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Boop. I don't know. You might
See,
not
I
be
don't
able to
know.
see
I
it.
don't know anything about comic books.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know either. I've started to get some kind of comic
Are they all
education.
backed like cardboard?
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
them? Wow.
But
Okay.
see how the guy did it? He put the card in there or the board in there, but he did it like in the middle on some of them. This one's backed, but this one's in the middle so you can still see the ad on the back.
Oh.
And he did that like on a lot of them. This is like an Evil Knievel ad. And this place that we were at, a lot of these before I sell them, I'll have to replace the bag because the bag has some like crinkling, but the
Yeah.
comic is like great and like untouched. If
Yeah.
you look at it in this light,
Uh-huh.
you can see how cool it is, you know. One of the I wanted to show you one of those. This one he had an $80 sticker on it. Can you see that $80 sticker?
Yeah.
So he had $80 on that in his store. Now the lighting is terrible to see like exactly what the comic looks like, but it's been a little intimidating to try to sell these on eBay because a lot of people it's kind of like vintage records. Like they want to say
Oh,
whether it's like
yeah.
VG or
That's how
fine
Pokemon cards
or
are. Is it light plate or near
yeah.
mint?
It's like VGG plus plus plus.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it gets intimidating, but I literally just disclose like, you know, I have a lot of these comics to sell. Please look at all the pictures. I'm not an expert and can kind of be the judge of the you can kind of be the judge of the
Mm-hmm.
condition, you
Is
know.
there any good ones that are worth money that you can possibly send off? You get like graded?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew that. That's why I asked you if you were in Cincinnati because I was when we were in Cincinnati, this opportunity came up with this family member, and I was overwhelmed. This is just another look how cool this is. Flying saucers. There's
Mm-hmm.
a 12-cent comic. Isn't that neat? Look at that.
That's so cool. The just the artwork on them is
Yeah.
fantastic.
So I don't know what year that was, but this had to have been. This looks like the module that this looks like the module that the astronauts went in, like when they
Yeah.
went to the moon. So I'm thinking this has to be like after that happened, like for them to fashion this after that.
Yeah. I mean, it's
It's
got
kind of
CC. What
creepy.
is that?
It's kind of creepy if this would be like
CCCP?
before.
Is that like a
What's that?
Russian?
What's that?
Does the comic say CC? Is it like Russian? Like
Is
on
it Russian? I don't think so.
the red part of the comic? Maybe not.
Oh, it says CCCP. I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
isn't that like the Russian like
I don't
back
know.
in the day?
I don't know. I I'm not sure. Um, there are some really cool comics, and there's some that are, you know, some are valued at like $5, some are valued at 10. But a lot of sorting still has to be done, and
Yeah.
a lot of these that I can get like $5 and $10 on eBay are going to go to whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe go to a collector, or I might do stacks of like this, like five or
Mm-hmm.
10, and sell them all for one money. It's just we have not a lot in this stuff. We helped facilitate a sale for a family member of mine. So we were so overwhelmed. We were like looking for outside sources to buy some of this stuff too, as well
Mm-hmm.
as like sifting through it ourselves. there was just way too much for us to be like, okay, we're taking responsibility for all this. So I invited a couple of the resellers from Cincinnati to come and like dig through this house too. And some of them, a few of them found some comics that, they got graded and they were worth it. Like um, Dave, ADHD.
Yeah.
How do
Is
you
that
even
where
say
he got all those
that? ADH
comics?
Dave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
where he got all those comics?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he got okay, so you see the boxes back here?
Yeah.
He ended up buying like one of those short boxes from us. And he just like sort of you know, picked out like what he wanted to make up in a short
Yeah.
box because
And he got the good ones graded, right?
there were thousands of comics in this basement that we were in. It was just unbelievable. Yeah, he did. He ended up getting like a handful of them graded. And yeah. And it was just something that I never really went to like YouTube or Instagram with a lot of my good sales with them because
Hmm.
they were bought from a family member. And although I was like sick to my stomach. I don't like doing deals with family. And I was like sick to my stomach. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
I know that I paid you a chunk of money for these, but like I'm gonna be making some profit. And she's literally like, I will be mad at you if you don't sell them and for profit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it was almost
She
like
just
I
wants to
needed
get rid of them.
it was a yeah, she was in a tough spot and she could not, do anything with them, and she needed to go back home, which was all the way across the country.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so we ended up helping to facilitate someone that bought like a bulk of them. We got a large amount ourselves, and like I said, like the guys that came were like Eric came, OBX picker,
Hmm.
Dave, um, Joe, Philly picker,
Uh-huh.
and who else?
What did Rod
Who
go?
else come?
Rod picking and
No,
punching?
no,
No.
Rod didn't go. Who else was there? There was one other person. Oh, well, Shad Juice came, but he came.
Okay.
He lives in Cincinnati anyway, and I had invited him to come like the first day that I was able to get in the house because I was when I say I was overwhelmed. I'm not an
I can't
anxiety person.
imagine.
I
Yeah.
was walking around this house and I just kept sighing. I was like,
Oh man, what am I gonna do?
it's like like what needs to be done here? It was just so overwhelming.
That
So
many comic books.
oh yeah, it was a ton. So Shad came with his like little SUV, and he's got like a little toy. I think it's like a Toyota something.
Hmm.
And so he like filled up like the back that he had, and then like his back seat full or whatever. So he
Hmm.
probably got like I don't know 4 to 5 long boxes and like 5 or 6, 7 short boxes, something like that. The first day. So I know he ended up with like a really good Fantastic Four, I think, comic.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think the same one that he had, Dave had, and he got his graded, and that was the one that sold for. He sold it for some big money or whatever. But
Yeah, the grades, man.
I was
It just
happy. I was happy to be able to do that.
yeah.
And you said you don't know much about comics
I don't
yourself.
know anything about comics. I mean, I know superheroes, but like,
Like we ended up with a couple of like Miles Morales.
yeah,
Um,
Spider Man. Those are like newer
yeah,
ones.
yeah. This was like from 2011, and it's a really
Hmm.
desirable one. And then we also ended up with some of like the newer ones that surprised me was the Star Wars, and this was also from like the mid 2000s, but it was the first appearance of Asuka, like the
Ahsoka. Yeah,
Ahsoka, yeah, the
I
thing
know
with the
Star Wars. Yeah,
yeah, the lady with the big
yeah.
tentacles or whatever you want to
Hmm.
call them.
Yeah.
So that book, like we've sold a couple of both of those without having them graded, and like one of the Asukas I know went for like $700 ungraded. It was still like in the bag, and then another like one of the Miles Moraleses that we sold for like $600 I think
Wow.
ungraded.
I wonder if they bought them to get graded because like the
Probably,
price. Because that's whenever I go to a
probably.
card show, like I'm looking at raw cards,
Yeah.
and looking at them being like, okay, I can pay $20 for this card, but if I get it graded, it could be like, if it comes back a 10, it could be like a $500 card, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Now we did end up with like we there was a lot of like Marvel cards, like
yeah,
Kiss cards, Star Wars
that's
cards, like
that's
things like
cool.
that.
You got
But
Star
we
Wars
only
cards?
yeah, yeah.
You know some
We
of those are worth really big money.
It's like they make a puzzle picture on the back. You know which
Yeah,
ones I'm
you
talking
need to
about?
look at those.
Oh yeah, like there's there's so much. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take a look at those for sure because you can get them great. You can
Oh yeah.
even, yeah, that's amazing. Danny, it looks like you have
Yeah,
a
so I
lot of
mean,
things
when
to
you
do.
ask me like what my goals are to sell some comics and or to
How many comics do you think you have right
sell
now?
some cards. Um, I so there's four
Like,
boxes there. We've got probably like probably about 12 like 3 foot long boxes
uh,
and probably about 30 to 40 of these 30 to 40 I don't know 30 to 50
how many of
I
them?
don't know
How many comics fit in one of those boxes like you have on the
like
table?
not I think 90 fit in the short
90.
boxes and over 300 I think fit in I might
The
be
long
wrong in thinking
boxes.
that in the long
Gosh, that's
boxes there's like
crazy.
3 to 400 or something in there I'm not sure
So how'd you know
and
which
I
ones
might
to
be
pick
wrong with those
out?
numbers don't quote me what
How'd you
sorry
know which ones to pick?
we didn't
You
we
just
didn't
grabbed. It's like, I'll take this box. I'll take this one.
yeah it was literally like you're and the house was so small too. But we ended up being able to purchase out of his storage unit as well.
Oh,
Um, but what was strictly in the basement was so if
top
you
to
can see
bottom.
my basement,
Uh huh.
it was all
Stacks.
of this that you can see in the scene filled, just stacked, 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 stacked,
Oh
stacked
my
everywhere.
gosh.
Like you couldn't even make a path, you know. You had to like pull them out and set them to the side to even like make a path to get back there.
That's crazy. That's so
At one time,
crazy.
I had taken a picture of. I think whenever I first sent a message to Shad to ask him if he wanted to come and look at some
Mm-hmm.
comics, I got up on top of the boxes, which I was like a foot away from the ceiling, or
Mm-hmm.
like and I had my son take a picture and I sent it to him and I was like, "Do you want to come pick some comics?" And he was like, I'm working. And he's like, but I'll
Yeah.
try to leave early.
Yeah.
So
That's
that was pretty cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a big task on your hand, but like you
I
said,
know.
once you get that your
And I
whatnot
might be
up and
wrong with my
going,
numbers. I might have 100 boxes sitting over there. I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean,
I I'll
it's
send you.
still a lot. Yeah,
I might
100
send you. I
comic
might
books is
send
a
you a
lot.
picture.
Yes, yes, please do. I would love to take a look at those cards too, just to see what kind you have, because some of them are worth. Gosh, you said they're from the 70s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you looked any of them up?
No, not really. Well, my husband and my son might have just tentatively, looked some up. Nothing is like, as far as the Star Wars cards, nothing is like what do they call that when they're in a loaded? Like none
Oh,
of
and top
them's
loaders.
top loaded or anything like that.
Hmm.
And where he had a comic store, he just had a ton of inventory of everything because it wasn't like he just left his comic store. He left his comic store in probably mid 2000s and brought all of this stuff to storage in his basement, probably like
Hmm.
in 2012 or something, I'm guessing. I'm not really positive about when it closed or anything like that.
Gosh,
Yeah,
that's kind of a cool problem to have, though, Danny. You getting
I
rid of all
know.
those comic books.
I know. I just
Yeah.
and I really need to get back into listing like my goal when we first obtained them and everything, I was like, we were on this train of like rolling with these comics, and then that has just kind of slowed down. And I really need to get back on because we were listing like 10 a night on
Uh huh.
auction. So we would list like 10 a night on auction, and we would have them ending almost like every day, so that was kind of cool. But
Mhm.
I need to get back to that. My son was
Yeah.
helping me at the time, and I was paying him like $2 a listing just to, get them on there. Um, because he was at the time he was 17, and he makes great grades or whatever, straight A's, and that was the deal. Like, he didn't have a job, but I was going to pay him $2 a listing, um, to give him some extra spending money for gas and that kind of stuff. And so that was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That's a
But
good deal.
he's since started his own eBay since he's turned 18. And the coolest thing that he's sold so far was that I put it on my Instagram. It was a little minifigure that was a
Star
misprint.
Wars.
Yeah, it was Star Wars. It was from an AT-AT set from 2015.
Hmm.
And I had the thought of putting it away, putting it in a baggie as soon as they opened it. And he showed it to me, and he's like, "Huh, mom, look at that. This stormtrooper." And where the eyes were supposed to be here, they were like printed down here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, that's a misprint." And he's like, what do you mean?" And there were other stormtroopers in the set,
Yeah.
so I was like, well, there was probably like 3, I think, with that 2015 set. So we just put that in a Ziploc baggie. I actually wrote on the Ziploc baggie, like, misprint from AT-AT set, and then I actually wrote, like, the 5 or
The
6
number.
digit
Yeah.
number of the set that it came from, because we had the box right there. And so he actually sold it for 300 bucks recently on his new eBay store. So that was pretty cool.
That's
And it
awesome.
went overseas. So that was neat.
That's awesome. Well, Danny, thank you so much for coming on. This has been super fun.
Thank you for having
So,
me. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry if I was windy.
oh, you're fine. So guys, if you want to follow Danny, Yard Sales and Dreams, all of her information will be down in the description below. So, Danny, anything else for the people?
Go follow me on Whatnot. I need some more Whatnot following
There you go.
people.
We'll make sure to put that there. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and
Follow
leave
me
us
on
a
Instagram
review.
too, because when I have some cool sales, I post them there.
There you
So.
go. There you go. Well, my name is Ray.
Which way are we?
We'll catch you on the flip side. See y'all and God bless. Peace.
Guys.
Don't leave yet, Danny.